Today, 4 East, 1 West on WGN America. The following is a presentation of WGN Sports.
The Cubs get set to open their brand new facility also here in Mesa in 2014. And great to have you with us. Cubs baseball on WGN Sports, the Royals and Cubs in Cactus League action. And we welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Hi, everyone. I'm Len Casper. Welcome to our 66th season of Cubs baseball here on WGN Sports. And changes always happen in baseball. Some new faces here in 2013, including my new partner, Jim Deshaies. 12 years as a big league pitcher, 16 as a broadcaster with the Astros, but you're with the Cubs now.
I traded over this winter for a bag of baseballs, and thrilled to be with you, Len. Thrilled to be part of Cub baseball and all the zaniness that comes with it.
And today it's a split squad. A couple of guys we probably won't see in the regular season for at least a couple of years, but Javier Baez and Jorge Soler have really been the talk of spring.
They really have, creating a lot of buzz. Two guys with big upsides, as Len mentioned, probably not going to be in Chicago for a couple of years, but you'll get a chance to look at him today. Soler, big, strong kid with a lot of power. And Baez, great bat speed, a shortstop. Their profiles as a really top-notch type player. Both these guys should spend a lot of time in Chicago, and don't be surprised if they end up making 7 or 8 All-Star games between them.
Baez with 2 home runs against Team Japan yesterday. Alfonso Soriano and Anthony Rizzo just back from the WBC in the Cubs lineup as well. We'll get it going next. Cubs baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Ford. Go further in any one of Ford's many fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. Chicago Cubs baseball in beautiful high definition on WGN TV is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It has been even unseasonably warm for Arizona here in March, but we will gladly take it. Cubs closer Carlos Marmol will probably make an appearance today, and they want one of the Cubs' up-and-coming stars, Jorge Soler, to smile for the camera. Let's get the Kansas City Royals starting lineup. They have the best spring record in all of baseball, 16-3-1. Gerard Dyson will lead it off. Johnny Giavotella in a good battle with Chris Getz at second base. Mike Moustakas at third. Max Ramirez is at first. David Lowe will play right. Brett Hayes trying to grab a job as a backup catcher. Christian Colon will be at short. Willie Taveras sat out last year, probably will begin the year at AAA. And Bruce Chen trying to grab that 5 spot in their rotation.
And defensively this afternoon, the Cubs set up this way. Soriano to Jesus Soler in the outfield. Infield third to first goes Lillibridge, Baez, Alberto Gonzalez, and Anthony Rizzo just back from his stint with Team Italy in the WBC. Rafael Lopez, the youngsters behind the plate this afternoon. And Hisanori Takahashi, the veteran left-hander, is on the bump for the Cubs. Take a look at his numbers from last year with the Angels and the Pirates. 0-3, 5.54 ERA. Longtime veteran of Japanese baseball.
Well, you passed your first test. Hisanori Takahashi.
Could drop an Ed Smith out there for me.
Well, let's get the umpires. Mark Ripperger will handle the plate. And then in spring training, the base umps like to move around, I think, depending on the sun angle as they work on their tan. Everett, Michlensky, and a Haspatka around the bases. This is a split squad weekend for the Cubs. We'll have tomorrow's game in Phoenix against the A's as well. The other split squad taking on the Texas Rangers in Las Vegas, and we will keep it posted. So Takahashi, who's trying to possibly be that second bullpen lefty, might go as many as 4 innings today, and we are underway.
3 innings last time for Takahashi. He's a finesse-type left-hander. He's not going to blow you away with his fastball. You know, sit around high 80s, touch 90. Good off-speed pitch, breaking ball. Obviously has to command his fastball and keep it down.
Turned 38 the day after opening day. That's on the outside corner for a strike. We will not see the Royals in the regular season. The Cubs will play the White Sox and then the entire American League West. But fans in Kansas City are pretty excited about this somewhat retooled club.
Yeah, well, you know, it's been a storyline in Kansas City for a number of years now because they, finishing so poorly for so many years. They've had a lot of high draft picks, and they're a team that was considered to be on the rise for a number of years, but have not yet gotten there. But they've made a lot of additions to the pitching staff that they feel is going to really push them over the top this year.
2-2 on Dyson. Ground ball cut off by Alberto Gonzalez. And we are email accessible. We have a new email. It's Len and JD at Tribune.com.
Right here, Len, right there in front of us.
We're on Facebook and Twitter as well. Bob Horwald, our executive producer here.
I feel like I'm freaking people out. Move away just a little bit.
There's our new booth cam. There's Johnny Giavotella. Cubs are 8-12 so far in the Cactus League. Their win over Japan yesterday doesn't technically count on their Cactus League record. But if you add them all up, and the Cubs had a game that was shortened by rain after an inning and a half, they've already played 22 games, and it's only March 16th. We started early because of the WBC. That's foul past third. 39 games in all.
Yeah, well, with the early start, the split squad games, plenty of time to get all kinds of work in. So nobody's going to get cheated in terms of their innings pitched or their at-bats. As long as you're healthy, you're going to get a chance to show Dale Swaim what you can do. Today, Jamie Quirk, because Dale's in Las Vegas with the other club. So Jamie's the manager. Promised not to second-guess him too much, but we might have to throw a little something his way.
One gets away from Lopez, the catcher. And we'll see a lot of new faces today, including on the pitching list, Kyuji Fujikawa, slated to be the Cubs' new setup man in the 8th inning. Probably won't work the 8th today, but that'll be his spot once the regular season starts. And the 2-1 to Giavotella is bounced foul.
It's usually in the last week or 10 days of spring training where managers start to play the games like they would in the regular season. But prior to that, they'll use their late inning guys in the middle to let them get their work in and then go do their running or whatever they need to do. But as we get closer to the regular season, typically managers will then, okay, if you're my 8th inning guy, or if I need to bring you in to get a tough lefty out, I'll use you in those game situations.
It's dumped into left in front of Soriano for the first hit. JD, the Royals as a team are hitting .330 so far.
Well, and obviously some of that is because of the Cactus League. It's a very hitter-friendly environment here. But, they've been a pretty good hitting club over the last few years. High average hitting club. Don't hit a lot of home runs, and that's one of the areas they're trying to address. They want to see these guys start to drive the ball a little bit more.
So Ned Yost in his 3rd full season with the Royals. Moustakis with a rope caught by Soler. Not sure if we'll get a chance to see Soler show off his arm, but he's got a good one out there in right.
He was tempted. Yeah, he just has that prototypical stud right fielder look. I mean, big, strong kid, about 6'4", 210, and he's likely to get even bigger and stronger, and he's got a cannon for an arm. Might remind some of Rico Cardi.
Is that who he reminds you of? Here's Max Ramirez. Saw Max with the Cubs. Spring training a couple of years ago. He's playing first. Eric Hosmer was with Team USA. They got knocked out of the WBC last night.
How about that?
There are a lot of Royals in the World Baseball Classic. Puerto Rico has 4 Kansas City Royals. Team USA with a couple. And they've got Giavotella picked off. That'll go 1, 3, 4. My scoring ability didn't lead me over the winter. Wow, great to be outside here in Mesa. The Cubs are coming up. Cubs starting lineup written out by today's manager, Jamie Quirk. David DeJesus, a former Royal, leads it off. Brent Lillibridge, pretty good chance he'll be on the opening day roster. We mentioned Rizzo back from the WBC today. Soriano, Josh Vitters just getting his spring underway, coming back from a quad. Baez, Soler, Lopez, and Gonzalez rounded out.
Royals set up this way defensively. Speedsters in left and center. Tavares, Dyson, Lowe's in right. Moustakis, Colon, Giavotella, and Ramirez third to first. And Brett Hayes, who's battling to be with the backup catcher for the Royals, behind the dish for veteran left-hander Bruce Chen.
So Chen facing a former teammate. David DeJesus, and he takes a strike. You talked about the pitching for the Royals. Bruce Chen has led the Royals in wins each of the last 3 years, yet with 2 weeks to go, he's not even guaranteed a spot in their rotation.
That's where they've made the big upgrade.
It's driven deep to right for David DeJesus. A leadoff home run into the bullpen. That's number 1 of the spring. David knew he was on TV today. And it's 1-0.
About that. Off the lefty. Chen prone to the home run ball. He too, like Takahashi, more of a finesse type guy. He tried to slip the fastball by DeJesus, and he jumped all over it.
I know it's only spring training, but did you like facing former teammates? Did you feel like those guys had any advantage over you because they knew, especially DeJesus playing center field, he got this sort of view of Bruce Chen a lot.
I didn't like it because I was always fearful that the guy was comfortable against me. If we'd been former teammates, and especially if we were friendly to each other, we just kind of felt a little more comfortable in the batter's box.
Brent Lillibridge, who can play pretty much everywhere except catcher and pitcher, but he might even be able to do that in a pinch. Lillibridge missed a couple of weeks with a minor groin injury. You can see he's done well in his 14 at-bats.
A guy that can play all over the field. Good defender, can run a little bit.
Right center and well hit. And it'll get down on the track. Lowe will pick it up, and Lillibridge has a double. If you didn't know before we started today, the ball does carry well here in Arizona, and it has for the Cubs here in the bottom of the first.
I immediately looked out at the flag after this play, thinking maybe the wind had pushed that ball a little bit, because Lowe got a real bad read on it. You see, he has to kind of belly out at the end and trying to haul this thing in. Ball that if you're Bruce Chen and it's off the bat, you think, well, it's fairly well hit, but it should be caught. Instead, he's got a man on second, still nobody out.
Now, first game back with the Cubs for Anthony Rizzo. Team Italy had a nice run in the WBC. They get out of the first round here in the Valley, and then had leads of 4-0 and 3-0, and lost both games in Miami. Called strike 1-1, but Rizzo said he had a wonderful time. Got some hitting tips from Mike Piazza. More situational stuff than anything else. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And I think that's where a guy like Piazza really pays off, because any number of guys can help a hitter in terms of their mechanics and their swing, but you take a guy like Piazza who's had all that experience and as a slugger like Rizzo is, and so he can speak to what he experienced as a player, how pitchers approached him in certain situations.
Chen with a 1-2, and he fights off the breaking ball. Well, wouldn't make too big a comparison between the two. However, Rizzo, like Piazza, even though he's opposite hand hitter, he likes that other gap. I think Anthony's best power is to left center, and we know Mike Piazza's power area was right center.
He used to drop the head. It just hit those laser beams.
Called strike 3. Rizzo didn't like the call. Mark Ripperger, it's the first out.
A breaking ball that Rizzo thought was off the outside edge, perhaps down a little bit. Ripperger thought it was close enough.
See, I think normally Anthony wouldn't argue in a spring training game, but he's used to the intensity of the WBC, so he's got to argue that call.
He's got to decompress a little bit after the international tournament.
Soriano missed a changeup. Alfonso's legs are healthy. Last year, 151 games. He had 32 homers. Still looking for his first. He has one this spring, and he pops this one foul out of play.
Chen, one of those left-handers that actually might be a little bit better against right-handed hitters, especially power hitters, free swingers. He'll try to run a cutter in and throw changeups down and away. He doesn't really have that power breaking ball to neutralize the good left-handed hitters. He's got a good finesse game. You got to be patient. You got to force him into the strike zone.
I think this should set up the changeup, right?
Either changeup or double up, go back inside, thinking that perhaps Soriano's thinking with him.
He goes upstairs again, and it's 2-2. When you see a lefty like Chen who doesn't throw hard, a lot of four-seamers, does it take you back to the day? You think about how you'd set up?
Yeah, I can relate very much to his game. Yeah, try to climb the ladder with four-seam fastballs and throw the changeup down and away. Just trying to stay out of the hitter's happy zone, right? That kind of mid-thigh, middle away. It's always a dangerous spot. Chen's an interesting case. He passed through Houston when I was working there in 2002, maybe 3, and he looked like he was done. I mean, he looked like he was toast. He's managed to carve out a pretty nice career for himself.
Another 2-2, and Soriano way out front. I think Bruce Chen and Darren Oliver, pretty similar guys, but their careers were over, and they've been able to continue, even though Oliver's a reliever.
Did Oliver find a job, or is he still?
That's a good question.
Contemplating retirement.
And Lillibridge back. We're going to have a little fun with run expectancy here on WGN this season. Certain situations. This is the percentage in this spot. The Cubs were able to score a run last season, so under league average. 39% of the time here with a runner at first or second with one out.
So
team would score a run.
In all situations from this point going forward, anytime you got the base out situation, man on second, one out. What was it, 38% of the time the Cubs were able to cash in one run, 34%? It's too early in the season to really pay attention to those graphics.
Darren Oliver's with the Blue Jays. Was there last year and with him again this season. Good battle here.
Do you know that when the count runs full, that 72.3% of the time the first pitch is fouled off?
I did not. I do now.
It's probably not accurate. I'm just making that up.
Okay.
But pay attention. Watch how much it happens. On the first offering, 3-2s fouled off a high percentage of the time.
That one is clubbed out into deep left center, and Soriano knew he got it. Back of the berm for a 2-run homer. So the Cubs have homered twice here in the opening inning.
And both of them, no doubt, are second time this spring that Soriano has left the yard. Good tough AB there, worked a deep count. Chen decided to challenge. Well, it's not spring training, maybe he doesn't challenge, but Soriano all over that heater.
Well, you hear all the time about pitchers throwing strikes. Well, Bruce Chen has thrown 2 that have been pretty tasty, and they both left the yard. Josh Vitters takes a strike. 3-0 Cubs.
Well, take it from me. Strikes can sometimes be highly overrated. Warren Spahn used to say the whole goal of pitching was to be as close to the plate and as far away from the bat as possible. Throw strike one and then try to tease the edges. unless you've got the power stuff.
Should be playable for Ramirez, and he's got it. So that's out number 2. And here's one of the kids, Javier Baez, only 20 years old.
Shortstop Javier Baez.
And before we get people too excited, we got an email from Bill, who asks, what are the chances Baez and Soler getting a cup of coffee this year with the Cubs? I would say 0. They are not going to be pushed quickly. As much raw talent as they had, they need to develop. Good ball well hit to left, and this one will go. He's hit 3 in the last 2 days. He's hit 2 in his last 2 pitches. He won the game in the 9th inning yesterday over Team Japan.
That's a pretty impressive swing of the bat there by a 20-year-old kid. Hit 12 home runs in A-ball last year. Even middle infielders, when they're 19, 20 years of age, power is usually the last thing to come. You know, you see speed, you see high average, you see guys that hit for contact, but you know, a young guy, a middle infielder with this kind of pop, that's pretty special.
So Baez with his 3rd Cactus League home run, but yeah, the 2 yesterday, that's 5 already. And now Jorge Soler, who a few weeks ago turned 21. Two and 1 the count. I would say at the bottom of the first, the script for our first telecast has worked out pretty well.
I can give up the long ball, Len. Nothing cheap about any of those going on. My goodness.
Nice crowd here, St. Patrick's Day weekend. Right field and deep. And this one's going to be caught on the warning track. Wow, what a display offensively for the Cubs. 3 homers in this first inning. DeJesus started it. Soriano. And then the kid, Baez. Hisunori Takahashi with a 4-0 lead on 3 first-inning home runs. And Baez has now homered on 3 consecutive pitches over the last 24 hours.
Think he's hacking first pitch next time up?
I think so. Max Ramirez 2 balls, no strikes. We're going to chat coming up with Cubs President of Baseball Operations, Theo Epstein. Fastball missed outside, 3-0. See, Ramirez has put together a big spring. And there's ball 4.
Not exactly what you want to do when you take the hill after being given a 4-run lead, walk the first man on 4 straight.
I got to tell you, partner, that's a good redeemer, that bottom of the first inning, because you joined me on a webcast the other day, and just as I was introducing you, the Cubs gave up a home run, and a few Cub fans who were nervous, but I think you have been redeemed.
For now, anyway. You know, it's all about what have you done for me lately in this business. So it's always difficult when you try to evaluate spring training performance. I talked about Takahashi with a 4-pitch walk after the big inning. But you know, it's kind of a twofold approach out there. You want to get out, you want to move the game along, do what you're supposed to do as a pitcher. But maybe you're working on your breaking ball. Maybe you've got a different agenda out there sometimes. But he's in a position where he's trying to make a ball club. So his focus should be just go out and pitch like this is the regular season.
He's getting excited, and this is why.
That guy's mid-season form right there. Saves the agua, makes the play.
Rizzo will get one, and nobody covering first. He's got a cover there. Anthony may take the short throw to first, but with a slow-footed Ramirez running, he gets the lead man.
Yeah, let's see if Ramirez breaks it down a little bit, too, assuming that there's not going to be a play made on him. I'm not so sure. It looked like he started to straighten up a little bit. But a good heads-up play there by Rizzo to go ahead and take a shot and ultimately get that lead runner.
Hayes catching today for the Royals. Brett Hayes. Good changeup.
Talking to Jamie Quirk before the game went about Takahashi, and he said, he's got a chance to make this club as a second lefty, joining James Russell in that bullpen, or maybe go to AAA, get stretched out, and start. He's done both in his major league career. He's been primarily reliever, but when he first came up with the Mets, he made a bunch of starts. Could be kind of a swing man, ultimately. He doesn't profile as a typical lefty specialist. He doesn't have that nasty breaking ball guy you would bring in to get a tough left-handed hitter out.
1-2.
He does have that. So sometimes you would actually be doing him a favor if you brought him into a game to face a left-handed hitter. The opposing manager pinch hit a righty, you might be doing Takahashi a favor because that changeup is his best weapon.
I always kind of felt that way about Mike Remlinger. He's going to get righties out better than lefties.
Tommy Glavine?
Yeah. Ground. Let's see if they can turn this one. Baez will take it by himself. A 6-3 double play. Still 4-0 Cubs. Cubs lead 4-0 as we get into the bottom of the second. And great to have with us Cubs president of baseball operations, Theo Epstein. This has been a lot more fun today than yesterday, and good bottom of the first inning, and good to see that power.
Yeah, you guys chose the wrong game yesterday. We had fun here yesterday with Mr. Baez putting on a little power display. Actually, he's hit 3 home runs the last 3 pitches he's seen, which I don't think I've ever seen before from a 20-year-old.
Theo, we're already getting a lot of fans who want to know, when are they going to be here? When are they going to be here? And we try to tell everybody, just take a breath. You've got a 20-year-old Baez. Soler just turned 21. They've got to develop.
They do. And every player in our minor league system has an individualized player plan that sets out their strengths and weaknesses from a physical, mental, and fundamental standpoint. Those players have to buy into it. They ask when they're moving up and when they're going to get to the big leagues, and we tell them it's not about time, it's about when you take those weaknesses and turn them into strengths. So they each have things they need to work on, and Javi had a great development year last year, but part of it included the struggles as Rafael Lopez grounds to second. I'll do your job for you.
Let's do it.
Part of that great development year was the struggles that he underwent in his debut in the Florida State League, and then went to the Fall League and saw some great pitching. So he's got a lot he still needs to work on, as you guys show his home run here, but you see that he's got that ability to take a really big cut and still center up the baseball. It's tremendous raw power for a 20-year-old. We're excited about him, but he has a lot of work ahead of him still.
Draws comparisons to Gary Sheffield, and you can see it there with that kind of load and the action with the bat.
Yeah, he's got the late bat tilt and then the tremendous bat speed. I think probably the bat speed itself probably does compare to Sheffield. Gonzalez with a base hit through the hole and then really picking up your slack there. But one thing Sheffield had when he was in the minor leagues was tremendous batting eye. Walked more than he struck out, and that's an area of emphasis for Javi. So he knows that, and he's done a great job this spring. He's quieted down the leg kick a little bit and tried to be a lot more selective. He knows he's going to see a lot of sliders, right-hand sliders. He's a good breaking ball hitter, so it's a matter of picking the right ones to swing at, and that's a point of emphasis for him.
I want to ask you about plate discipline, because I know it's something organization-wide and certainly at the big league level that you'd like to see improve a little bit. But there's a fine line, isn't there, where you don't want to fundamentally change certain aggressive guys who've gotten to this point because of their aggression.
Yeah, you don't want to take away aggressiveness, and that's why we don't talk about plate discipline in those words. We talk about selective aggressiveness. So you don't take the aggressiveness away from the hitters, but you ask them to be selective in how they use that aggressiveness. So hitters count as De Jesus flies to center field here, Len.
I do want you to keep your day job, but you can't.
My day job.
You
I
can't
definitely
move.
need to.
I'm going to say fly ball to center 1,000 times this year.
You ask them to be selective in how they apply that aggressiveness. So in hitters' counts, and really almost any times before they get 2 strikes, we want them zoning up and being aggressive on pitches they can drive, not being aggressive on pitchers' pitches and pitches that they're gonna make soft contact on. So that's what we're really drilling day in, day out in the minor league, selective aggressiveness.
And so obviously, you talk to guys about their approach. Is there a way you can actually practice that? Do you do other drills?
There are. My personal belief is it's more nature than nurture, so it's something that's innate. But you can make improvements certainly along the margins, and there are drill packages that we use. We do a lot of video. We're actually using some proprietary software that we have to help improve the neural networks that go into.
So essentially, electric shock therapy. They swing at a bad ball.
More like playing a video game.
Whatever it takes here.
Yeah, but there's, when you think about hand-eye coordination, there's actually parts of hand-eye coordination like inhibitory control that are wired a certain way in the brain that maybe allow you to see the ball a little bit longer, lay off, and make a decision a little bit later. And you can actually work on those things and try to improve them with certain software. So we're trying everything we possibly can because it's such an important part of the game.
Yeah, it's obviously it's industry wide, this approach about trying to be patient and work counts and swinging pitches in the strike zone, essentially, what you're asking guys to do. So it's really going to be interesting to watch this evolution of the game to see, because there's a school of thought that says, when you talk about a nature versus nurture, that says, well, you can't really take a guy and change him that much, but who knows, down the road you may see significant improvement in some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to change a guy's basic approach too much, but you do want maybe the thought process and certain counts to change. And it's nothing new. Everyone, people are talking about this like it's a new concept. It's as old as the game itself, and it's something that you need at bats. Oftentimes it's just getting 2,000 at bats in the minor leagues, and then going to get another 2,000 in the big leagues before it sinks in. If you look at the arc of a hitter's career, they tend to improve in that area later in their careers, right as their physical tools are starting to go. So the goal is, if you can get them to improve a little bit earlier in their career when they still have the great physical tools and the reaction time, then you can extend the player's peak.
As we look at the opening day roster, we're just over 2 weeks away. These last 2 weeks become really critical, don't they?
They do, but you try not to really put any emphasis on results and what you see in spring training. More mistakes are made evaluating players. Infield hit for Willow Bridge is having a nice day, but more mistakes are made evaluating players in September and in March than any other times of year. So we ask, there are certain bubble players who are competing, but you just can't put too much stock in spring training. We've made so many every team makes mistakes over the years. Thinking a guy's hot spring is going to carry over, or conversely, a player who just doesn't have a good spring might be washed up. In reality, it's very rarely significant.
And so many times you'll see a kid have a really good spring because he's getting a ton of at-bats, and then you get him into the regular season and you're asking him to fill a role off the bench, and those at-bats aren't there, and he doesn't have the skill set to do the job.
That can be really difficult. About 15 years plus ago, John Roscoe's had a spring for the Padres when I worked there. I think he hit 550 and must have slugged 1,200. It was unbelievable. Every game was 3 knocks, rarely a single, doubles, triples, home runs. So he made the team based on that. I think went 0 for his first 29 to start the year.
He used them all.
He got released, yeah. So, and that's actually happens quite a bit. So we try to discipline ourselves not to rely upon spring training results. It's hard, especially for the on-field staff, because we see these every game, 9 innings every day. You're watching it, but try to remind each other not to put too much stock in it.
And it's small sample, part of it. Mm-hmm. And it's also just the nature of the way the game is played in spring training too, right? The competition level.
Yeah, when you were pitching in spring training, you were really working on your own arsenal, fine-tuning things. Probably very rarely were you actually pitching to a game plan, trying to pitch to a hitter's weakness and get him out. So it's a whole different ballgame once the season starts and there are advanced scouting reports and guys relentlessly go to your holes in spring training. You're probably going to get a good fastball to hit at some point in the count.
2-2 on Anthony Rizzo. A happy experience for him, huh?
Yeah, that was invaluable. It was a lot of fun. I lost $500, but going to a good cause to Riz's charity, his family foundation. But no, it was great to see him at the center of a very exciting Italian team. You can't replace that experience in big spots.
All right, throw us to break. Come on, Theo.
Stay tuned for more exciting Cubs baseball.
Yes. Len and JD and Theo Epstein with us here for a couple more minutes. Let's talk about the pitching side of things. You had a pretty active winter in that regard, particularly in the starting rotation. We'll probably see Kyuji Fujikawa out of the bullpen. And can you just talk about the thought process going into the winter and what you ended up with? I don't know if we can hear him. There you go.
Okay, technical difficulties.
Yes.
Stand by. There was a bit of a pitching deficit in the organization, including really the minor league system. So we felt like we had to add a lot of quality and depth to the pitching staff just to have a chance to compete.
Christian Colon will be a double to start the Royals third.
And we don't have those waves and waves of pitching prospects that you need coming through the minor league system, especially starting pitching to filter into the big league level and provide the depth that is required because of the attrition that occurs during the course of a season. So want to upgrade the rotation and saw a couple opportunities with guys on one-year deals who were maybe a bit undervalued. Scott Baker especially coming off the Tommy John and buying low on him, and then an attractive piece on a 2-year deal in Carlos Villanueva with the flexibility to start and relieve. I think he's a good fit for our division. And then Edwin Jackson, of all the upper-tier free agents, fit because of his age, because of his durability and health, knock on wood, over the years, and his consistency, providing mid-rotation quality and close to 200 innings every year. And was available on a reasonable deal. So adding those 4 guys capable of starting really transforms, or hopefully transforms, our starting staff and gives us the ability to throw out a decent starter every night.
Actually, JD was talking off the air, and you can relay the story about the New York Penn League. One night you threw 183, is that right?
Yeah, 11 innings. This is 1982, but yeah, through 11 innings. I believe it was 183 pitches.
Wow.
That's a nice play by Josh Vitters. Throw is late. Oh, there, that was Lillibridge. Vitters DHing today. Nice play by Brent Lillibridge, a plus defender. A lot of positions.
Yeah, unfortunately for Lillibridge, Willie Taveras is the guy who hit the ball, and Taveras can flat out fly. Lillibridge did everything right, but was not going to get Taveras scooting down that line.
He's done a nice job at a variety of positions for us this spring, trying to make the team on a non-roster invite.
So you talk about Edwin Jackson's durability, and so you make that kind of a commitment to a player. So you look at the innings he's pitched in the past, and the fact that he's stayed healthy. How much of that is also tied to any kind of biomechanical? Looking at a guy's delivery and saying, his delivery looks clean. He looks like a guy who will stay healthy throughout the length of the contract.
Yeah, that's important. So we observe the mechanics and can make some conclusions just from a scouting standpoint, and there are also certain key biomechanical checkpoints from a scientific standpoint that you want to see with guys. And with Jackson, we thought the way his arm works and the way his delivery met those checkpoints that he'd have a chance to stay healthy. And then it was nice to see once we signed him and gave him that physical, which includes MRIs of the shoulder and elbow, that he was, knock on wood, but as clean as any pitcher his age that we've seen in a long time.
And back to the pitch count thing, his no-hitter, 149 pitches, which you just never see anymore. And for a hard thrower especially.
Yeah, I was actually watching that game on TV when it occurred. He had electric stuff that night without great control as we get it out here. It was a tough call. I've been in that situation before with young pitchers who have a no-hitter going, and I'll be honest, you're almost rooting for a base hit so you can get him out of the game, looking at the big picture. It's hard not to get caught up in the moment, but we had Clay Buchholz going for a no-hitter one time, and he had upwards of 120 pitches entering the ninth and was able to, thank God he had an efficient ninth inning, because that would have been a tough call.
Is there ever a temptation to get on the phone and call the dugout and say, I'm authorizing you?
Tito, where I watched the games in Fenway, he could kind of peek out of the dugout and look up, and we had that going a little bit, kind of laughing at each other about it. But no, it's important to hire the right manager and let him manage.
We should reiterate, Dale with the club in Las Vegas, where Jeff Samardzija is on the mound today. This is a split squad weekend. 2 games yesterday, same today, same tomorrow. 39 games in all. And I know we get to this point, Theo, you just want full health come April 1st.
Yeah, health is by far the most important thing. This is a long spring. think you've seen it a little bit with our position players. You know, usually when you first start spring training, those first 10, 15 at-bats, there's some adrenaline just getting out there and seeing live pitching again. And then there can be a bit of a lull, a dead period, and then you really ramp it up when you can smell the season starting again. But here, that lull lasted for 3-4 weeks because it's such a long spring. But hopefully now we can start focusing and having better at-bats as we get closer to go time.
Royals threatening here with 1 out. And 0-2 on Dyson. New spring training facility next year, and everybody's thrilled. We'll talk with Justin Piper a little bit later and get more details, but can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a terrific place. We had the chance to bring all of our baseball personnel, all the scouts, and all the minor league instructors down to the site a few weeks ago and walk the site. And it really made everyone excited, thinking about a day when we're going to have all new facilities, a new spring training home, our new Dominican Academy opening in May, what we hope will be a fully renovated Wrigley Field in a couple years. You know, and our baseball plan, our business plan kind of coming together at the same time. It really got everyone excited about what lies ahead for this organization. It was nice to see, you know, see it in concrete terms. You could actually see the thing coming out of the ground just down the roads. I actually pass it every morning on my way into work so I can chart the progress.
It's amazing the transition in the spring training facilities, you know, how archaic it used to be.
What was the worst one you were ever in?
Oh gosh, Plant City maybe, when the Reds traded in Plant City. Wasn't a whole lot going on there.
Keep you out of trouble.
Let's see if Takahashi can get out of this here. The Cubs are playing their infield back with a 4-0 lead and a strikeout for out number 2. Last thing for you, Theo, after year 1 here with the Cubs, just talk about being a part of this whole thing. It's unique in so many great ways, but it's an experience you have to experience firsthand.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing like being in the organization day in, day out to get a feel for what makes the organization special and unique. And I've been thrilled by what I found here. Great people, the connection between the fan base, the generations of fans that we have, and the franchise is terrific. And it's all, the highlight of it all is Wrigley Field, where that all comes together. And just, we are so motivated to work day in, day out to get to a point where we can make our fans happy.
Always a pleasure. Really appreciate you stopping by and doing some play-by-play on top of it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Time now to check out our BMW in-game box score. The Cubs with 3 homers in the first inning. Be prepared for inclement weather this season with a BMW 3 Series with X-Drive all-wheel drive technology. Visit your local Chicagoland or Northwest Indiana BMW Center today to test drive one. Enjoyed that conversation with the Cubs president of baseball operations. And the terminology matters. You know, talking about selective aggressiveness, there is a different feel to that as opposed to plate discipline. You know, I think baseball people, JD, they don't like to say don't do this. They would rather term it in a positive direction.
Well, we tend to dwell when we talk about good at-bats. We tend to look at guys who work the count full, foul off tough pitches, and end up hitting the ball hard. But you can have a good at-bat in one pitch. We saw it with Baez. You go up there looking for a certain pitch, you get it, go ahead and take a whack at it if that's your game. If you have that, if you can drive the ball, if you're not a guy who's looking to draw walks and steal bases.
Speaking of a good at-bat.
Designated hitter. Number 5.
Hey fans, do you have a group looking for a great spot to enjoy sunshine, baseball, and all you can eat and drink at Wrigley Field this summer? The Budweiser Patio gives you the chance to do this in prime home run territory. Bring your best guests inside the ballpark this season. For more information and to purchase tickets for the 2013 Cubs season, it's 773-404-4200 or go to Cubs.com/premier.
This is kind of interesting. Vitters is DHing today. The Royals aren't using a DH. Chen took that at bat.
This is the first day Ned Yost has his pitchers hitting, and you've got the National League team with a DH.
Yeah. Obviously, with more interleague play this year, the American League hitters are going to be called upon to bat more frequently, so it makes sense to practice it.
Well, since you mentioned it, the Angels, and they did get permission.
I thought you were going to go in a different direction.
From their opponents. And that's changed now. But Albert Pujols, I believe, in about 3 different games coming off right knee surgery, was allowed to have a designated runner. What do you think of that in a Cactus League game with paid admission?
Yeah, that's the issue, right? I mean, you try to sell, obviously people know spring training and his exhibition games, but you try to sell a product that is close to legitimate Major League Baseball as possible. So it's one thing if it's a B game that's being played at 10 o'clock in the morning, but you know, the regular game where people have paid decent money to come to, you know, if I were the Angels, I had an opportunity to do it, I would do it. So it would be a matter if MLB decided they didn't like it to put in a policy. I guess the flip side of the argument would be, well, if Pujols wasn't going to be courtesy ran for that day, he wouldn't be in the lineup at all.
Correct.
And therefore, people got to see him play.
Yeah, that's probably the best argument for allowing it. Called strike 3. Third punch out for Bruce Chen.
Number 70.
He has settled in after a rough first inning. We'll see what Baez can do here. Last 3 at-bats, 3 pitches, 3 home runs.
Got to be hacking here. Got to be hacking here.
And he is, and he just gets under one. And that's caught by Taveras.
Take a peek now as the Cubs hit with 2 outs and a man on second base. We'll take a look at the run expectancy in these situations. This is from last year. Cubs got that run home 22% of the time. Royals, well, there you go. All across the board. There's a 22% chance this run is going to score. So if you're a betting man, you're sitting at home watching the ball game, get 5-to-1 odds.
Soler.
Of course, those are all situations, right? Depending on who's on base and who's in the batter's box, that's going to shift a little bit. If you've got, you know, some slug out there at second that can't score on a routine single, changes the math a little bit.
One missed, 2-0.
Chance for a big swing here from Soler. See if Chen gives in or tries to tease him again with that changeup. He's got a base open.
The glove of Chen that slows the ball down. Nice barehanded play, but Giavotella throws it away, and the Cubs do get that run. Not the way you draw it up on an error, but it'll work. And a It's 5-0.
Despite overwhelming odds, there's only a 78% chance that the Cubs would not score this run. Oh, we're going to wear you people out with some math. And Ramirez, not the best footwork down there at first base. Could have come off the bag and saved his second baseman an error and saved a run for the time being.
He's a catcher by trade. I believe that'll be an infield hit for Soler, and Soriano scoring on the error.
Talking a little bit with Lopez during batting practice. He's very excited to still be in camp. He assumes that will not be the case for much longer. Maybe after the string of split squad games is over, he'll be reassigned to the minor league camp. It's his first time in big league spring training. That's always a thrill for a young guy.
16th round pick 2 years ago. Born in Philadelphia, went to high school in South Florida, and then went on to Florida State.
So St. Patrick's Day has become a weekend thing. It used to be just a day, right? St. Patrick's Day, now it's St. Patrick's weekend.
Yeah, and we play the A's tomorrow, so they'll wearing their athletic green. Nice sliding grab out there by David Lowe to retire Lopez. Cubs had a run. It's now 5-0 after 3. Fans out on the berm enjoying a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Mesa. While the Cubs move into their new park next year, Hohokam will be renovated and the A's will move in here in 2015. Underway in the fourth and a strike on Mike Moustakas. Takahashi has given the Cubs exactly what Jamie Quirk was hoping as he gets here into the fourth inning. Slow breaking ball. We don't have our radar gun working today, but that looked like it was about 65 miles an hour.
A la Randy Wolf. Maybe Roy Oswalt.
Hammered. Way foul. Moustakas was the Royals' top prospect. a couple of years ago. They should have a terrific defensive club. We talked about their improved rotation. They've got a very good bullpen. And they hope to just score enough runs to be in that mix.
Yeah, you know, and they weren't bad offensively last year. They didn't pitch very well at all, especially the rotation. They've got a pretty solid bullpen. And as you mentioned, they catch the ball pretty well. If the new acquisitions in the rotation perform the way they're performing now, they're going to make some noise in that division.
It's low, and it's now 3-2. According to the Kansas City Star, the Royals have the longest postseason drought among all the 4 major pro sports teams. The last time they got to the playoffs was '85 when they won their only World Series. Deep to right, Soler back to the fence, gone. The Royals are on the board. It's 5-1.
20 home runs from Moustakas last year. He played part of the year with a bum knee. Certainly has legitimate pop. Trying to go down and away. It was up and in a little bit in that happy zone we talked about earlier. And unless you're busting it up there at about 94, you're asking for trouble.
And many times if you're watching where the catcher sets up and then where the ball actually is, that'll kind of tell the tale.
Or you see that sometimes you just see the catcher's head drop as soon as the contact is made. He hears it and he knows.
At the knees on Ramirez, 1-1.
But again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the finesse lefty who's probably better against righties because of the changeup, and he doesn't have that put-away breaking ball. You know, to just neutralize a dangerous left-handed hitter like Moustakas.
The ball hit hard. It's backhand by Baez.
Cubs fans, don't forget to check out Len and JD's baseball blog at WGNTV.com. The blog is sponsored by that man right there, Jeff Vukovich, your nationwide insurance agent, serving the area for 34 years. Hard to believe, Jeff really looks 40 years old in that shot. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side, WGNTV.com. My first post is there today, Len. It's very compelling.
Can't wait to read it. Strike on David Lowe. Oh, we're just glad to get on the air. And we want to wish Bob Brenly the best. Bob back here in Arizona with the Diamondbacks, working with Steve Berthiaume. You still see Bob a lot. His son Michael is still in the Cubs organization. Once a Cub, always a Cub. BB knows that. We'll catch up with him when we see the Diamondbacks in the regular season.
Ooh, there's a good one. I imagine you guys have had a chance to get together this spring. You've been down here a good while.
Absolutely.
How's the transition going for him? Is he enjoying things over there?
He is. Got a short trip to the ballpark from home, which helps. I also want to give a tip of the cap to your longtime partner, Bill Brown, the voice of the Astros.
Yeah, Brownie is still charging hard. He's got Alan Ashby alongside of him now. Jeff Blum is going to work some games.
And we will see the Astros at Wrigley Field, but it'll be an interleague series. They're now in the American League West. Who wants it? Lillibridge. Safe at first.
Lillibridge charges hard. A little bit of a fumble there as he makes the transition from glove to throwing hand, and that cost him. Running well, coming out of that left-handed batter's box with a little bit of an edge. You'll see it here. Just a little bit of extra time. And that's an infield single.
Hayes hit into a double play his first time up. The situation might present itself again here. Big cut, he fouled it back. Producer Mark Brady, our director Skip Ellison, our associate producer Doug Stanton, our executive producer Bob Vorwald. The whole gang is here in Mesa. We'll be in Phoenix tomorrow here on WGN at 3 o'clock. Cubs and the A's. The Jesus goes back. He's battling the sun a little bit. 2 down.
About 32, 33 degrees in Chicago today. A little snowy, perhaps. This is nice. People get to tune in, see a little bright sunshine. Can think about what lies ahead in the summer months.
We actually had a real winter again in Chicago. Got spoiled a little bit last year. Colon doubled his first time. Snap toss by Lopez, runner back. Great job by Mark Gallo and the great grounds crew here at Ho-Ho-Com Stadium with the Cubs in cursive. And I guess you could say, because it is St. Paddy's Day weekend, the Cubs logo in green.
It's a pretty good skill set right there, Len. You just don't roll out of bed and do that. That takes a lot of practice, a lot of seasoning.
It's one thing to spell Cubs with a pen, but another with a lawnmower.
Yeah. Don't try that at home.
Seen swings and misses today from the Royals. Have been a lot like that.
On the changeup. So, you know, he's got a couple options here. He can go back to it, throw it a little bit further down, a little bit further out, or take a shot up and in. You know, after a good changeup like that, when you fool the hitter, you feel like you've slowed his bat down and should be able to beat him with a fastball up a little bit. Hitter takes a bad swing, gets fooled, looks bad. He thinks to himself, all right, stay back, don't chase, stay back, and that's when you can slip that heater by him.
And we throw to first.
Takahashi, 37 years of age. He'll be 38. Second day of the season. 10 years with the Yomiuri Giants.
Right center, Soler with a beat on it. Running right into that Cubs logo. And straight away center field. 5-1 Cubs.
Both
Chicago Cubs and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago Cubs. The Hall of Famer, Fergie Jenkins, the greatest pitcher in Cubs history. And if you come to spring training, you will run into Fergie and friends. A lot of former big leaguers, some Hall of Famers.
She takes them
doing a lot of great work for Fergie's foundation.
All right, we're just waiting for him to sign it.
5-1 Cubs. They will bat here in the fourth inning against Bruce Chen. Alberto Gonzalez is 1 for 1. He takes a belt-high strike. Left field and deep, and it's gone, a home run. Number 4 for the Cubs today.
Reminiscent of a hot day at Wrigley with the wind blowing out. 4 home runs. Alberto Gonzalez hitting in the 9-hole. Chimes in. Not a guy who's known for hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Just a handful of major league home runs in his career. Journeyman type guy, but nice swing of the bat. Scrambling out there on that berm this afternoon.
It's now leading 6-1. The guy who led off the bottom of the first with a long ball, David DeJesus, takes a breaking ball for a strike. David led the Cubs in line drive percentage last year, and it just seemed like he squared it up more often than anybody, and the numbers would bear that out. He's always had a really good approach.
Michael Bowden will be next for the Cubs. He's getting ready out there in the pen. He's having a very nice spring. In the box.
Michael had a really good September last year. And he turned that corner. Pitch that was supposed to be in and is out over the plate, and it is run down by the speedster Gerard Dyson. That's a nice catch.
And he's picking up into that high sky overhead. Tough play, running away from home plate, back over the shoulder into that sun. And Dyson able to track it down. So many times you see guys out there trying to make plays with the sunglasses perched on top of their hat. Dyson smart enough to have his on, showing tremendous range.
Well, when Bruce Chen has missed his spots here in this game, he's been hurt badly. That time his center fielder bailed him out. Turns it over for a strike. And there were 2. A little bit outside. Bruce Chen signed with the Braves 20 years ago. Really interesting story. He went to high school in Boca Raton, Florida. He's of Chinese descent, but he was born in Panama, where his grandparents had moved during the building of the canal. Bridge grounds out, 2 away.
Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to www.wrigleyvillerooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF.
Rizzo, who had struck out his first 2 times, swings at the first one and grounds out. Leadoff homer Alberto Gonzalez from the 9 spot. All Cubs here through 4, leading 6-1. Roberto Gonzalez getting into the act. Cubs have homered 4 times. 3 came in the first inning as they lead 6-1. Into the bullpen. Chicago area native Michael Bowden.
Yeah, did a real nice job after being called up. Cubs picked him up from the Boston Red Sox. No wins, no losses, 2.95 ERA, 32 times. He trotted out there for the Cubs last year. Positioned himself well with that performance and what he's done so far here in the desert to break camp with this club.
He's got a pretty decent shot over in the Marlon Byrd deal. Willie Taveras, I mentioned earlier, did not even play organized ball last year. Go back 4 or 5 years, he was one of the premier stolen base artists in the game.
Yeah, first came up with the Astros, had a long hitting streak. He's one of those guys, because of his speed, he's always been able to hit for a high average. But no real pop in his bat, doesn't hit for power, and he doesn't draw walks. Kind of what took him from being a potential everyday outfielder to more of a fourth outfield type guy. Still a handy player to have on your team because of his speed.
Stole 68 bases with the Rockies 5 years ago. That's the good. The end, right at the bad, I should say, at the end of the year, he had a stress fracture in his lower right leg. That's not good for a base stealer. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2.
Chris Peter there from Bowden. Fastball, slider, split finger pitch are his tools.
Torres goes down and golfs that one into right, and it's Soler for the out. You're looking for a way to make your business stand out from the competition? Host your best customers and guests in a private suite at Wrigley Field. The Nuveen Investment Suites can accommodate anywhere from 15 to 55 guests and include food, all-you-can-drink beverages, and parking. To book your premier experience at the ballpark, go to Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200. Chen got down a sack bunt in the third. Jesus will take care of him this time.
Well, let me get your opinion on this one. I've heard a lot of talk with the realignment. The Astros going to the American League, 15 teams in each league. You hear the argument because of that there's going to be an interleague play all year long, so therefore the National League should adopt the DH as well. I'm not sure I get that.
I don't like it. I mean, I'd get rid of the DH altogether, but I don't know if the union will ever want that. But I don't think we're ever going to have an entire league with the DH.
Yeah. And I don't understand, because people put that out there. There are a lot of guys that write in and say that they're going to have to change the rule. I don't understand the argument why they have to do it. I don't see it as a big issue for either National League or American League clubs to play one set of rules at home in the American League stadiums and one set of rules in the National League stadiums.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It will be weird. The Angels open the season at Cincinnati. It'll be the first ever interleague game to start a year. That'll split the gap. And Dyson can run. And he's already around second. A triple for Dyson.
Yeah, we talked about Taveras' speed, but of the two, Dyson's the guy that's in center field today, so you could get an idea how quick he is, and he is just scooting. He's downshifting there as he rounds second base, and a little mishandle out there, errant throw. He's going to think about circling the bases.
30 steals last year. He'll come off the Royals bench during the regular season.
He reminds folks in Kansas City of Willie Wilson.
It's in the dirt. Alcides Escobar, their everyday shortstop, stole 35 last year. So he and Dyson became the first Royals tandem with 30 steals apiece since Willie Wilson and Lonnie Smith had a 40-40 year for the '85 champs.
Lonnie Skates Smith.
Giavatella deep to left, and Soriano has just enough room to make the catch. Royals do not score.
Best.
Baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Our first telecast of the spring. First of 4 here on WGN, and then we get you set for the season opener. Also here on WGN, April 1st from Pittsburgh, Jeff Samardzija will be the Cubs' opening day starter. Good day for Soriano, a 2-run homer, a walk, and 2 runs. And a strike from Chen.
Samardzija with 5 innings of shutout baseball so far today over in Las Vegas.
Cubs lead 3-0 there. How about a split squad sweep? Dyson. And now the fun starts. Actually, I do enjoy these days when you have the kids who come over from minor league camp, and it's easy to spot them. They've got big numbers. Here's number 96, no name on the back, Bijan Rademacher. When you hear about some of these names in the draft or international free agent signings, and they're so excited to be here in big league camp, and they've got a chance to have an effect on a Cactus League game.
Oh yeah, this is don't tell these guys that these at bats in these games don't matter.
Caught the outside corner. He struck him out. Rademacher taken in the 13th round of the draft last year. And for its second season is Cubs Authentics, the premier outlet for all MLB authenticated Cubs memorabilia. From game-used baseballs, bases, and jerseys to autographed bats and photos, Cubs Authentics has the most exclusive Cubs memorabilia. Visit the Wrigley Field Concourse, the Cubs store across from Wrigley Field, or Cubs.com/authentics for all your Cubs memorabilia needs. As with a homer and a flyout. 1 ball, 1 strike. Another fly ball to deep left, and watch how far this one goes. Out of the ballpark, Javier Baez. Wow.
Might have to send him out just to take the pressure off. There's going to be so many people calling for this kid to be in the big leagues. And again, he's just, he's still pretty raw, but you get a sense of the tools. And this is an off-speed pitch. We talked about him jumping on those fastballs. And, so many of these young kids are aggressive, dead red fastball hitters, but that was an off-speed pitch.
Soler just hit one to the moon, but foul. Wow. He's 20, Javier Baez. What's Jamie saying to him?
Probably saying just that. Come on, man, you put too much pressure on us. It's not that easy, kid. I've been in this game for 35 years, Quirky's saying. It's not that easy.
Well, the story yesterday, we talked to Wellington Castillo, who was actually on deck in the 9th inning. Castillo basically looked at him and said, who's going to be the hero? And Baez said, you're not going to get an at-bat. And the next pitch, he ended the game.
Quirk can manage. Jamie's a really good manager today. Giving everybody the home run sign.
Cubs fine bench coach. Will Swaim's right-hand man. And it's not a surprise that he's versatile as a coach, because he was extremely versatile as a player.
Come up as a third baseman, moved behind the plate.
Another 3-2.
Was he with that 85 club you referenced earlier?
He might have been, yeah.
He may have moved on by then, I'm not sure, but he came up with the Royals.
Pop up. And caught by Hayes. This day belongs to Javier Baez. 2 more home runs. 7-1. Javier Baez with 4 homers over the last 2 days. The Cubs lead 7-1 as we get into the 6th inning. Uncle Bowden's still in there. And it is great to have with us in the booth a new member of the Cubs organization, Justin Piper, recently hired as the general manager, Mesa Spring Training Operations. Hello from Reno. Justin, congratulations. Welcome to the Cubs.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Lopez makes the catch and retires Moustakas for the out. We were talking earlier with Theo Epstein about the new ballpark. Just a couple of miles from here, right at the 202 and 101. And everybody is just so thrilled and can't wait till 2014.
It's going to be a world-class facility here in Mesa, and we're looking forward to opening it next spring.
Here's Ramirez with 1 out. 17 years here at Ho-Ho-Com Stadium. Well, let's get a little taste of the new facility. So we're seeing it being built from the ground up. And there's a lot going on over there in the Riverview area.
It looks like a pitcher's park to me.
That's all you
looks pretty deep as far as I could tell.
Yeah, these photos are from just the other day.
Ooh, look at that.
There's the rendering. And you can see the touches in terms of the dimensions. A Wrigley Field / spring training vibe to it. That's all you can ask.
Yes, there will definitely be some features reminiscent of Wrigley Field.
And we want to encourage fans out there to secure a shot at season tickets. And you can go to Cubs.com/Mesa and learn about a $100 refundable deposit.
Yeah, online you can see renderings of the ballpark, and you can put down that $100 refundable deposit to secure your place in line.
There's Bowden's 0-2 to Ramirez. It is in the dirt. So for a ball.
Aside from the new ballpark opening up, what else is going to be on your plate, or is that pretty much all you need to deal with right about now, right?
Yeah, the focus for the next 12 months will be on opening the ballpark, and construction is moving at a brisk pace, and we hope to be in there by the end of the year.
And the thing about it is Bowden strikes out Ramirez. This is a facility that will be used for spring training, but also year-round. And the training facilities and for the baseball organization will be a huge upgrade.
Absolutely. The Cubs have outlined a priority to build world-class facilities, and this is one piece of that. It's going to be a place for coaches, staff, and hundreds of players to be year-round.
Another nice thing to know for fans. I'm told there will be roughly about 65% of the ballpark that'll be in the shade, and it can get really hot here in Arizona. No matter what ballpark you go to, you can find the sun spots. When you go out into the berm here, you're going to be in the sun all day. But if you want to be in the shade and have it be about 75 degrees instead of 90, there'll be plenty of opportunities.
Absolutely. As you look around the ballpark here today, you can see the fans start to move back to that shade, and it was definitely a design feature of the new ballpark to include.
Ball is ripped into center for a base hit, so Lowe is aboard for the second time.
You know, especially, you know, here in Arizona, you know, a lot of people are a little bit older. They come to the ballpark. You put them out in that sun for 4 hours, 3.5 hours. That's not good. Yeah, very Wrigley-esque with the outfield. Are the dimensions going to mimic what Wrigley?
The dimensions mimic it. I believe it is a bit deeper here for the Arizona climate.
Yeah, I think 368 to the gap in left center might not cut it.
Adjusted for elevation, yeah. See all the satellite fields behind there.
I like the roof, the cantilever upper deck. And as Lowe will advance a base to second. And the plan is it'll be done and ready to roll months before the Cubs start spring training next year, correct?
Absolutely. We're going to be in there by the end of the year.
One strike the count on Brett Hayes. everybody who comes here, you know, they compare their experience at different ballparks. Hoholcom's always been one of our favorites. The new park at Talking Stick in Scottsdale, world class. And we expect everybody in the Cactus League is going to want to come to the new Cubs park.
Yes.
Not just Cub fans.
We anticipate there'll be a high demand for the ballpark next year, both for the Cubs and just to see the facility itself.
And it's amazing the way the facilities have morphed over the years. Just the basic standalone stadium to now these big complexes with all the satellite fields around them. The clubhouses, just like the big league stadiums, with all the creature comforts for the players and the weight rooms. And it's just amazing the way things have changed over the years.
Yeah, the clubhouse and the training fields, there are 6 full-size fields and an infield, and some of the other facilities are absolutely a priority for the Cubs.
It's going to get foul. Still 1-2 the count. Well, as we sit here, and the weather has been wonderful here. We actually got some hail and some snow early on in the spring, but once you get into mid-March, it really evens out. We had that early start this year. There's Sean Camp up in the Cubs bullpen. Well, I would say the weather's been pretty much like it is today for the last couple of weeks. Almost the same every single day. That's why we come here. We're getting a little spoiled, Justin, I guess is my point.
I guess that's why you see the crowds that you do here today.
That's right. Players have been leaning on us. Is it going to be like this on opening day in Chicago? We'll take 55. That'd be great. Two and 2 on Hayes. Cubs leading 7-1. And he went around. That will end the inning. Justin Pipers, thanks so much for the time. And we look forward to the new park in 2014. Thanks, sir.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Take a look at the Cubs Ford upcoming schedule here on WGN tomorrow, Friday, and next Saturday, all here at 3 o'clock Central Time on WGN. Ford, go further in any one of Ford's many fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. Right-hander Aaron Crow is on. And Rafael Lopez greets him with a solid single in the center. There's a Cubs bat here in the 6th.
Lopez had a couple good swings today. Lined out last time, up now solid single. Aaron Crow, big part of the Royals bullpen last year, was 3-1 with a 3.48 ERA in 73 ball games. Impressive strikeout numbers. Punched out 65 in his 64 2/3 innings of work.
Carlos Penalver hitting for Gonzalez. Swing and a miss. Penalver signed back in 2010 out of Aragua, Venezuela.
You like how the color guy just completely shuts down when you bring in somebody? Like, yeah.
Well, I know you're the new guy, but I haven't seen a lot of these kids. That's, again, the fun of spring training. We get an opportunity to see a lot of kids who
just 18 years old. A mere pup.
What was your last year in the big leagues?
1995. Briefly.
He was born in 94.
Yeah. That's the whole goal, right? You get that number 98 your first spring, and then you just hope to whittle it down. So 3 or 4 years later, you got a real number.
Lopez took off, and this ball will be caught by Dyson.
It's time to play ball. Get to Wrigley Field this season to see the Chicago Cubs in action. Single game tickets are available for the 2013 season. Get your tickets now for the season's hottest games. Visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office. All great ways to pick up your tickets. Come out, enjoy some baseball at Wrigley.
Home opener April 8th against the Milwaukee Brewers. Dave Suppelt, his first at bat. He's now playing center. You've got a little connection with Dave Suppelt, right?
Dave Suppelt played at Coastal Carolina University collegiately, and his head coach was a teammate of mine in the Shenandoah Valley Collegiate Baseball League 100 years ago. Gary Gilmore.
It's a small world, the baseball community, isn't it? You hear names and you go,
Carolina Chanticleers.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things about baseball is you could not see a guy for 20, 30 years and then bump into him, coaching somewhere or working in someone else's organization.
Down the right field line and out of play.
Had a brief chat with Brian Harper earlier today, and Brian's coaching first for the Cubs this afternoon. Harper was the catcher for the Twins when I was with Minnesota back in the mid-90s. Outstanding hitter.
He'll be the Iowa hitting coach, and the manager at Iowa, Marty Peavy. And he's over at third today. Deep to left center is a guy running on the warning track. He won't make the catch, but Dyson will. It's another fun spring training site. Guys jogging on the track after their outing. That's Bruce Chen.
That was maybe my favorite thing of spring training. Just be out there watching the ball game, trot along. I give him credit, though. If I got lit up the way he did today, I would have found somewhere else to run instead of in front of the fans. That's a bold move. It's a confident man there. Give up 4 jacks and go out there and take the heat from the fans.
Christian Villanueva with 2 outs. Christian lost his Cubs decal. Cubs have the threaded raised decal, one of the few, if maybe the only team in baseball, on the batting helmet. Every once in a while it'll move around a little bit, or in this case just fall off completely. Where's Tom Hellman when you need him? Breaking ball catches the outside corner. Talking about the baseball world being a small world. Lester Strode's been with the Cubs for a quarter century, and you were looking up some of his stats and realized, well, wait a minute, I played against Lester.
We were in the Southern League at the same time back in 1984. He's aged a lot better than I have. I spent some time with Lester on the Caravan this winter. Real good guy. Been fun to get to know some of these people that have been around the game for so long, but when you're in the other dugout or working for the other organization, you don't really get to know them well. Got a good group here. You know, the coaches, really good people.
Well, he has aged gracefully, but he also has a pen growing out of the side of his head. Somebody better tell him about that. Well, we got to match up the graphic with the helmet. Usually we've got a Cub logo next to the number, but we want to be consistent here. So we'll re-add the logo when he does on his helmet. Base hit, center field. And we've seen some really good quality at bats today.
Good-looking young hitter. Well, maybe you have to earn that logo. You got to get a couple of knocks before you get the logo put back on.
First baseman, number 80, Justin Bauer.
Bring up Justin Bohr, another intriguing player from minor league camp. So he'll bat in the spot where Rizzo was. Bohr was actually on defense in the last half inning. Double-A Tennessee last year, Bohr knocked in 110 runs.
This is a large human being. He should be a tight end. He should be playing for the Bears.
6'4", 250.
Man.
Swing and a miss. Now the Cubs are obviously deep at first base. You've got Anthony Rizzo, who will play every day at the big league level. And we've seen a little bit of Dan Vogelbach. And now Justin Bohr. These are good problems to have, JD, when you feel like you have a strength at one position. As you go down the road, if you have an injury, if you want to make a trade, a strength and a depth at a certain position is always a good thing.
Yeah, you and I were talking earlier today about Javier Baez and everything he's doing, not only in this camp, but so far in his professional career. Obviously, Castro's locked up for a number of years, and so a lot of people are saying, well, when do you move Baez? And I think if you're Theo Epstein, and I don't want to answer for he or Jed, I would say, well, look, shortstop's a premium position, and if this kid continues to develop at the position, can handle it defensively, what he does with the bat, whether he pushes Castro or we ultimately trade this kid, either one of them, consider the value you would get in return. So, I don't think you want to be in a hurry to move a guy who's at a premium position with those kinds of offensive skills.
Especially as shortstop, and you feel like if Baez has to make that transition to another infield spot, let's say to third base, that's a much easier transition for a shortstop than a different position. We talk about the defensive spectrum all the time. That is a fairly common move. Two strikes on Bohr. The breaking ball hit hard on the ground into center for a base hit. Lopez coming around third, and the throw is air-mailed. And it's now 8-1. Dyson might have had a play, but the throw was nowhere near the target.
And that high throw allows
Allows the back runners to move up. Good swing of the bat here by Bohr. Hits it hard up the middle. And he's on it in a hurry, but just airmails everybody. And allows the back runners to move up an extra 90 feet.
Number 92, KCA AT CHN.
So the Cubs have scored in every inning but the second. There's a ball pretty well hit to center by KCA AT CHN.
Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium today and watch over 150 select spring training games live. Plus every regular season game live or on demand on over 250 mobile and connected devices. Visit Cubs.com for details.
Here's right-hander Sean Camp, a very busy man last year. Excellent spring training signing after he was released by the Seattle Mariners, and the 80 appearances tied him for the major league lead.
Yeah, very durable, very dependable, and very solid year for the sinker baller Sean Camp, who first came to the big leagues with the Kansas City Royals almost a decade ago.
All Cubs 8-1 here in the 7th. A big Cub welcome to newborn Elliot Dwight Booth, born yesterday. We got a nice tweet from the proud Papa Ryan. Colon has gone the distance at short for the Royals, ball 1. So happy birthday to Karen Winicky, turning 68 today, lifelong Cub fan. So get well wishes to Karen. And you can email us, Len and JD at Tribune.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Happy birthday to converted Cub fan Matt Hughes, 34 years of age today.
And a base hit for Colon. He's 2 for 3.
Got a bachelorette party here today too, Len.
Really?
The Bree Bierman bachelorette party is here, and they want to say hello to everyone back in Wisconsin. Bierman, B-E-E-R-M-A-N.
I like it. Tavares into the line again on Takahashi. He started this game for the Cubs, 4 innings, 5 hits, only 1 run. Michael Bowden 2 scoreless on a couple of hits.
time keeping pace with the scorecard with all these changes now. It's my first day. You know, you've been here all spring. You're pretty much game ready. I might be over my word count. I think I was on a strict word count today, somewhere between 100 and 120 words. I think I've gone well beyond.
Well, we did ask you if you're going to go the distance today. Most of the starters went 5-6 innings, but you're going to finish it, right?
I don't know. I usually 5 and fly was always my program. I believed in when I was pitching. You guys are working me hard here today.
Wanted it, didn't get it. And it's 3-1. And there's ball 4. You joked the other day, you can always put a positive spin on anything that happens in spring training. You always kind of have a built-in excuse that games don't really count. But having said that, I will throw this out there. Is it a good idea for a pitcher to be in this spot maybe once or twice in the spring, first and second, nobody out, short reliever, just thinking about, okay, if this is the regular season? I mean, obviously you'd like to get every guy out your face throughout the spring.
You know, I was never one of those guys that could go out in a spring training game and work on something. I think that gets overplayed sometimes. I think once you get out there and the competitive juices are flowing, you're just trying to get guys out. Now, having said that, I do know there are guys that, especially when they get to a certain point in their career and they're comfortable and they're locked in on the club, they have nothing to lose. They can go out and not perform and not have any issues with whether they make the club or not. But I wanted to get the guys out. I wasn't trying to work on any given pitch. And I always threw my breaking ball and my changeup. My very first outing, now you hear guys that go out and they I'm just going to throw fastball changeup, so I'm not going to throw my breaking ball. I figured, you've done enough work leading up to that point. You might as well use all your pitches.
You see, most teams score at least one when you put them on first and second with no outs, and the Royals last year came through. Called strike 3 and a good slider.
Camp's game primarily sinker slider. He's trying to go off the outside edge here with this slider. Backs up on him, but he catches a break as it just kind of settles in over the inside corner, and he gets the benefit of the doubt on the call. Now let's see what the run expectancy is. Just like that, things tilt back a little bit in Camp's favor.
That is very instructive. I think we talk so much about sack bunts and whether it's a good strategic play, and I think the bunt is becoming more important because run scoring, the environment is down compared to where it was 10 years ago. But you see, just adding one out, those percentages go down.
This game basically breaks down to gaining bases and preserving outs. You want to be very careful before you start giving up outs. Obviously, as the game moves along, it dictates the strategy. Early in the game, for me, early in the game, the only guy I want bunting is the pitcher. Playing for the big inning.
Camp's got to throw to first because nobody at third is Villanueva. And after that ground ball, let's keep the theme going. Second and third, but 2 outs.
League average 26% of the time. The offense will score.
Essentially, those percentages turned on their head from first and second, no outs, to second and third, 2 outs.
Yeah, and I think the point is, sometimes as fans, we watch our club play in a situation like this, and they'll say they never get the run in. But compare your club with most other teams in the league, and there's very little variance from the top teams to the bottom teams in some of these base out situations, 24% versus 27%, things of that nature. But when it's the team you root for and that guy gets stranded, you always think, man, we're always leaving people on base.
Chris Getz on a 1-2 count. One thing we can always count on wherever we go during the season, the team broadcasters will drop at some point. We just can't get them in with less than 2 outs.
Not getting that big hit.
That's because even if you're doing the right things, you hit 300 in that spot. 7 out of 10, you're not. He's trying to find the outside corner with that breaking ball. He's missed twice, and it's 3-2. He's got a base open. Topper over the mound. Baez, nice pick. Can't get him. And that'll be an infield hit. Did everything he could, just couldn't get Getz. And it's now 8-2.
Baez getting it done today with the bat. Now shows you a little leather. Just played by Bohr over there at first base, too, to save a second run from coming home.
And it just worked out this way that Baez and Soler are in the lineup for a first TV game. But I've been on some radio shows. I'm on Twitter a lot talking about these kids, just the way they play the game, their instincts. And it's been on full display today. And you almost have to see it to believe it. But you can just see it. He's a 20-year-old kid. He's hit 2 home runs today. He's got great hands. You just got to go play every day. Getz takes off. The throw is going to go through, and he is safe. Tavares holding at third, and his team down 6. Anthony Saratelli is the batter.
That's a spring training stolen base right there. 8-2 ball game in the 7th inning, regular season. You wouldn't be thinking about stealing a base there.
Three and 1. Brandon Wood on deck. Picked by Bohr, and coming up after the break, our first Bud Fan Cam of the season. Stay with us. Coors Classic. Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buds. 8-2, the Cubs with a lead. That changes for the Royals, the most significant. On the mound, Francisli Bueno, former Atlanta Brave, and there's an interesting story behind Bueno, and it relates to the Cubs. As Rademacher takes ball one. Bueno, Cub fans may remember, back in 2008 with Atlanta, made his big league debut. 2 1/3 relief innings before he got kicked out of the game for throwing up and in on Alfonso Soriano in the 9th inning of a big Cubs blowout win. Soriano had previously admired a long single to left. So after that outing, Bueno got sent to the minors and then found out he had received a 3-game suspension for his actions in that memorable debut. However, he didn't pitch again in the big leagues until last year, so the 2008 suspension was served in September of 2012.
It's got to be a record.
Seems like that delay.
Seems like the statute of limitations would have run out.
Arismendi Alcantara now batting.
Arismendi Alcantara.
And a chopper up the middle. And a nice play by Colon.
Francisli Bueno from Cuba. Royals have a good bullpen. They had a very good bullpen last year. Figured to have the same again this season. It's the upgraded starting rotation that has everybody in Kansas City excited.
They made that big deal with Tampa Bay, bringing in James Shields and Wade Davis. They'll both be in that rotation. The Royals for many years have been the team with the great farm system and all the prospects, but I just think they've gotten to the point where they want to go for it.
There's so much focus on the Pirates with their long run of losing seasons. The Royals have only had one winning season themselves since '93.
Home run swing by Soler.
Why not? 2-0. Turn it loose. Take a big rip. See if you can run into one. Good pitch by Bueno. A good sink on that heater.
Two and two. Missed it earlier. Cubs hit 3 homers in the first inning. Javier Baez with 2 on the day. After hitting 2 yesterday. Shank to right, and it'll be caught. Well, the tagline feels just like living in paradise, and I don't want to go home. I think everybody feels that way today. Baseball has been brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Ford. Go further in any one of Ford's many fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. Yummy, yummy. And somebody borrowed your ukulele.
That's a pretty solid day right there. Hanging on the berm, watching home runs, catching some rays, playing the ukulele. Multitasking.
There's the John Belushi lookalike to steal it and smash it up against the wall.
Well, it's the old Steve Martin deal, right? You never saw, a sad person playing the banjo. Ukulele, you don't play blues ukulele, do you, Len?
No. Usually happy stuff. Kyuji Fujikawa, and that's a fair ball for Brandon Wood. And that's a leadoff double.
Anxious to see Fujikawa here. Long time Japanese major leaguer, very successful over there. Coming to the States, expected to provide a big lift for this Cubs bullpen. Right now, penciled in as the 8th inning guy, setting up Carlos Marmol.
I don't want to be that guy sitting
Got a put-away split finger pitch, going with a pretty lively four-seam fastball.
Andy Chavez playing center. And that's in the dirt for ball one. Fujikawa, a couple of interesting notes. He wore 22 in Japan, but I guess he wanted to go with a younger number. So maybe a slimming 11.
Really attach that much significance to the number in terms of age. His Kyuji, his first name, literally means baseball kid in Japanese. His father gave him that name because he was born shortly after his dad pitched a no-hitter in Sandlot Ball.
It's worked out well. And one thing you will see at some point during the year, when Chris Bosio and or Dale Swain come to the mound, they will have in tow the Cubs interpreter Ryo Shinkawa. That is a new rule. Baseball has allowed interpreters to go out to the mound. Chavez flies out to right. And the Cubs, I believe, this past week were the first team to actually utilize that. Now, I did see a story about it, whether or not, and I guess it has to be a full-time employee hired by the team to be an interpreter. But the question is, for Spanish-speaking pitchers, where do you draw the line? And I guess the answer right now is that if that person is employed as an interpreter, it doesn't matter what language it is.
I think it would have been really nice to have an interpreter back when Yogi was managing. Somebody go out there and kind of straighten that gibberish out.
George Kataris. Could not hold up. Who's your Yankee manager?
I did. Yogi and Billy Martin. I was only there briefly. Didn't really go all that well.
You can say you were a Yankee. According to the Associated Press story, as it stands now, only people employed full-time as interpreters can accompany managers and pitching coaches onto the field. The base hit for Kataris. Wood will stop at third.
Kataris did a nice job staying back that time on the split finger pitch. It stayed up a little bit for him, but kept the hands back. The front of the body was gone, but he kept the hands back and was able to flip it into right field. And watch the front side locked down, but the hands stayed back and through the zone. Gets himself a knock. We had an interpreter when I was working for the Astros for Kazumatsui. And he was kind of fun. So we thought we'd bring him on the air with us one time and interview him and talk to him about the different words and English and Japanese for all the baseball terms. So maybe we'll have to do that with the guy here to get a chance, bring him up to the booth. My favorite, though, and his name escapes me now, I think it was Yoshi. And I asked him, say, Yoshi, how do you say home run in Japanese? And he says, home run. That's okay.
Same word. There you go. Yeah. So just translate perfectly. Well, the other big rule change, we walked right into it. This first and third situation with a right-handed pitcher. You can no longer fake a pickoff toss to third base. So that fake to third, look at first, or fake to third and catch the runner at first napping. That will now be a balk. So the only base a right-hander can fake to is second. Jake Peavy has been very vocal about hating the new rule when it came to bite.
Well, you know, you can step off the rubber and fake to third and then back to first. But that all-in-one motion where you come set, pick up your leg, stay, it got to be so bogus because guys would step in that direction. The third baseman wouldn't even break to cover the bag. The balk rule is designed to prevent a pitcher from deceiving a base runner. And clearly that was nothing but an attempt to deceive the base runner at first base. So I agree with the rule change.
It was Buck Showalter who said he thinks it will lead to teams running a lot more, sending that guy from first. But we'll see.
Well, yeah, and it will. And that was the thing about it. People would always say, well, that move doesn't work. Well, it did work. You might not catch a guy very often, but you're going to hold him at first base a little tighter because he has to respect the fake to third, back to first move. But I always found it ironic because they call balks on so many piddly little things, and then they wouldn't call that. That was a clear attempt to deceive the base runner, but you could be out there, come set, take a deep breath, and they call a balk on you.
Shallow center, Chappelle on the move, trapped it. But he'll get an out at second as Kataris kind of got caught in no man's land, had to wait to see if it was going to be caught. It's now 8-3 as Wood scores.
A great effort here by Dave Chappelle, laying out, just can't quite secure the ball, but he does have a plan B, and that's to force at second base on Kataris. He just couldn't afford to get too far down the line and risk being doubled off at first base.
It's Tavares who's 1 out of 2 with a walk. Popped up. Canalver to end the inning. Royals get 1, but the Cubs still lead by 5 late.
The patient
Budweiser player of the game, and it's 2 plays, 2 big swings of the bat from Javier Baez. That's what we call full extension, folks. 4 home runs and 5 at-bats for Baez after the second one today, going back to yesterday's action against Team Japan. Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buds.
Good pitcher for the Royals, Michael Marriott. And the Cubs marketing slogan for 2013 is committed. That man is committed. I'll have to keep a watch on that maybe every 4 or 5 days. That's right. You know what I'm talking about.
Now pitching for the Royals, number 75, Michael Marriott.
He fell asleep and somebody got him.
Beautiful day here in Mesa.
Michael Marriott in the spring has been a busy guy. He's working for the 7th time. He's got a 4.5 ERA.
8th round pick in 2010. Product of the University of Nebraska. Facing a catcher, Lopez. A roller to second. Chris Getz.
Remember longtime major leaguer Darren Erstad? He's the head coach now at Nebraska.
And he was a 2-sport star in college, right?
Yeah, he played football there as well as baseball.
Darren Erstad struck out to end Carlos Zambrano's no-hitter. 20-08. Big Z still looking for work. Just checked. Carlos Penalver. Cut off by Navarro, the new third baseman. It is Ray Navarro makes the play.
Now batting, number 17, Dave Southampton.
Another Cubs split squad leading 5-1 over Texas. In the bottom of the 9th in Vegas, Jeff Samardzija, 5 shutout innings on 3 hits. For the Cubs, Scott Hairston with a home run. So Big Z still a free agent. Same for Ryan Theriot. Former Cubs shortstop and second baseman. Same for Kyle Loesch. How about that?
That's a really peculiar one.
That draft pick compensation, slot money that you might lose. He went 16-3 with a 286 last year. So 211 innings.
Yeah, and then I'm sure at some point a club that feels like they're one pitcher away from getting over the hump is going to bite. I'm sure that's what he and Scott Boras are waiting for.
3-1 on Sapelt, and the other Cubs split squad did in fact beat the Rangers 5-1 the final.
Draft picks are very important, obviously. But Kyle Loesch is a proven commodity, and if you're a pitcher short, if you think you got a chance to be a wild card team or go to the postseason, I'm willing to give up the draft pick to sign Kyle Loesch.
It does get a little confusing, but to use Michael Bourne as an example, the Mets have the 11th pick. The top 10 picks are protected. But I think the Pirates with that extra pick, so that pushed the Mets out of the top 10. So if the Mets were going to sign Bourne, they were going to have to go through an appeal process, which would have taken a long time. So they ultimately passed. Eventually, Bourne signed with the Indians. Well, they do have a top 10 pick. Now, they lost a couple of other picks like 49 and 63, something like that. Kind of that supplemental second, third round area for the Swisher and Bourne signings. But not too many teams have dipped their toes into those waters. swing and a miss.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that the next time the collective bargaining agreement is up, or if MLB pushes the players for enhanced drug screening, say, maybe that becomes a trading chip. I don't know, it's very confusing. You know, there's all these rules now to protect the draft picks and compensation. That's why smart guys like Theo figure that all out.
He has surrounded himself by a lot of smart people.
And he was in here with us. It was really nice of him to come on. He said a lot of good things, but there were times where I felt like I was Gilligan and he was the professor. Throw some words around. I was like, all right.
That is caught by Nick Van Stratton. But you knew that.
Here comes.
So great to have you with us today as we kick off our television schedule for 2013. The Cubs for a split squad sweep after beating the Rangers in Las Vegas. And a pretty commanding 8-3 lead over the Royals, who are trying to hand Kansas City just their fourth loss of the spring. And we are just about 2 weeks away now from opening day, and that's why Carlos Marmol's pitching the 9th as opposed to maybe the 4th or the 5th. JD, you remember when Marmol was throw almost exclusively sliders. Well, I think with Chris Bosio and the Cubs, they really got him to think about his fastball a little bit more. And according to Fangraphs, last year's fastball average velocity was 94. It had gotten down below 92 the year before.
Yeah, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And it's just a matter of trusting it. And you know, he doesn't have to be that fine with it because he has such a good slider and he has such funky angles with which he delivers the ball. You know, face it, the way the modern closer is used, usually it's coming in to start an inning with nobody on base. More times than not, you have more than a one-run lead, so you've got a little margin for error. It makes sense to be aggressive in those situations.
Facing Adam Moore. Well, that was number one. Number two was that Marmol was essentially banned from shaking off his catcher. So the deal he had was that he had to buy Chris Bosio and Lester Strode a case of wine for every time he shook off the catcher. It happened once last year. Deep to left, and Chen on the move makes a catch.
Yeah, and give Marmol credit for buying into that. You know, some guys, their pride would get in the way, and they wouldn't accept that from the coaching staff. But when you're struggling, it makes sense. Make an adjustment.
Here's Van Stratton, Nick Van Stratton. Marcus Sapelt. And he's there. Well, the other note from Fangraphs, I mentioned the velocity. 2 years ago, only 36% of the time did he throw his fastball. Last year, it was over 50.
Yeah, and I think what happened, too, is he throws so many sliders and he throw them out of the zone. He was throwing put-away pitches early in the count, and hitters would just lay off him. And the walk rate continued to climb. Now, once he establishes strike one with his fastball, he'll get swings and misses at the slider again.
You knew when he got in trouble, and even got to 2-0 and was in big trouble, the slider became his pacifier. Gets by everybody.
Yeah, and he didn't, it's one thing for Dennis Eckersley to do it, but Eckersley had such great command of that slider. He could dot it on the outside corner, run it down and in on a left-handed hitter. It looked like Carlos tried to throw it about 110 miles an hour. Overthrew it a little bit.
1-2. There are certain sliders he'll throw that look like changeups. He'll back up, but they are sliders. He's a two-pitch guy. Will make his Cactus League debut tomorrow on our television game against lefty Tommy Malone of the A's. This will do it. Penalver, the second baseman. Cubs win. 4 in the first on 3 home runs. They hit the ball out of the park all day and beat the Royals. 8-3 your final.